Capital growth versus cash flow. I know you're so fancy now, bougie. You live outside of London now, and you can, purchase houses outside of London. So the end value is much more, and maybe capital growth will go there. So you left the dirt.
I left you back there in the dirt.
So what's your take? Capital growth versus cash flow?
I think firstly, like everything, it depends on where you are in life and how much money you have and what your, I suppose, immediate or kind of short-term needs are. Also, perhaps where you're based geographically, and also on your end goals. Like I said, short-term, where do you want to be in X many months or years? But then long-term, where do you want to be in 5, 10, 30 years? I think we really forget, right? Especially when we do BRR, because we want to pull the money out quick, and we're going to own these for potentially, I'm going to own them for like 40, 50, 60 years. And so I think we forget that sometimes. And then we forget different, video, but we forget a lot of stuff. And so in 30 years, if our properties doubled in value, for example, are we going to be pretty happy about that? I would say so. Is it going to allow us in the future to maybe sell them all off or refinance them and have a huge pension pot? Yeah, it is. So like I said, you look at your short-term goals, which might be, right, I need cash flow. Okay. But then you also have to consider the long-term goals of where do you want to be in X many years. Now, obviously, I think the ideal is a balance of both, which is, you have good cash flow, but you also have solid capital appreciation. The issue is, especially with the BRR strategy, those areas don't often collide. I mean, there are some areas in the north where you get both. It's great. There's some, like where you and me have invested, where you don't get as much capital appreciation, but you get awesome cash flow. And I think it really comes down to you. I mean, for me, it's been primarily about cash flow. I'm not thinking about 50, 60 years. But now, the stuff I'm doing now and moving forward, because the cash flow is kind of sorted and kind of there, I'm now maybe looking in slightly different areas that will bring me a little bit more capital appreciation, because it's powerful, But I'd love to do an analysis on, 10 years of capital growth in an area versus 10 years of, say, rental income in that area, and which one's more and which one works out better. Yeah. So yeah, for me, it's really down to those factors. And, your view is different to mine, and mine is different to everyone watching this. And that's what really matters. It's what works for you? How is it going to work for you? And what do you need to do to obtain that? Capital appreciation doesn't pay the bills, but it might pay the bills in 30 years in a really big way. Yeah. But there's some people who I've seen stuff where people, they make, I don't know, £100 a month cash flow, which for me is just not worth it. Totally makes no sense, but it's in a good area for growth. And I always think, I get that, but for me personally, that wouldn't work. And it may not work for people watching.
Yeah, and that's like you mentioned that. I mean, maybe capital growth. You don't know. The thing is with when you're doing the cash flow or the BRR, you know that you're gonna get an income every month. So I'm more like you're saying, cash flow. I like more certain stuff. I don't like this. Yeah, maybe. I mean, if you're gonna do maybe, then you can just be and go and bet on stuff instead, because it's almost the same, because it's always maybe. So I'm definitely cash flow. I understand capital growth, and I think the blueprint that you're trying to make now is quite good, because you set up yourself with the cash flow, and now can just go and do bigger stuff. So either way that I still got my cash flow.
So, 100%, and that's my situation. Like some people may do rent to rent for cash flow, and then just buy some flips in the meantime. So there's so many ways around it and doing it that. Yeah, it really boils down to that personal situation and how much cash you have. Some strategies are not, going to be relevant for certain people because they don't have the cash to start with it.
Yeah.